I'm Archbishop Mark Coleridge, and you are watching Q&A, question and answer for the Catholic leader. In these days we're celebrating Easter because the Easter feast lasts for 50 days. It's the biggest party in the church's year. It begins on Easter Sunday and it finishes on Pentecost Day. So we're in the thick of a 50-day party. And the question is, why does the church make such a fuss about Easter? Some people might think that Christmas is a bigger thing than Easter, but no. For the church, for Christians, Easter is what it's all about, because St. Paul says it in one of his letters, if Christ is not risen from the dead, then we are the most pathetic people of all. So because Christ is risen from the dead, it is worth 50 days of celebration. But the question is, why? The fact is, Easter isn't just about what happened to Jesus way back then. Easter is something that affects every human being on the face of the earth. Because what St. Paul says is that Jesus isn't the only one raised from the dead. He calls Jesus the firstborn of many brothers and sisters. In other words, he's the first of many, and where he has gone as the one raised from death, we, all of us, every human being, and the whole of creation, in fact, are called to follow. Now, what Easter is all about is the triumph of life over death. Now, this really matters in a world where so often the last word seems to belong to death. And you look around the world with wars and famines and disease and everything, all of these the works of death. There is a lot of evidence to say that the last word belongs not to life but to death. What Easter says is the exact opposite. What it says is that in fact, despite all the evidence to the contrary, the last word in your life and mine and in the whole history of the world and in the cosmos, the last word belongs to life, because the last word belongs to God. So what Easter represents is the affirmation of life over death, the affirmation of peace over conflict. Again, we live in a world where so often conflict seems to be the bottom line, but that's not the truth. The truth is a truth of peace, and when Jesus Christ rises from the dead in the New Testament, the first word he speaks always is, "Peace be with you." Now, what he means by that is, I have been to the bedrock of human suffering, sorrow, destitution and devastation. I have gone to the heart of death. I've seen the worst, and you have nothing to fear. So in the end, what Easter is all about is the victory over the oldest enemy that the human being knows, and that is fear. We have all kinds of fears that in the end are gathered up in our fear of death. But what Easter says to every human being with ears to hear, "Peace be with you," says the one risen from the dead, because I have seen the worst and you have nothing to fear. Your fears are a bluff. So call their bluff and you will know the peace which the world cannot give, but which is the peace of Easter, and you will know the truth of the life that is bigger than death.